Greetings YouTube, Yellow Belly here. Just a quick update. I've been asked to show how I connected up the Ddi3 internally into the CPC. I think it was Retro Game Coder, a new sub of mine, and I suggest everybody subs to him as well. He's a new Amstrad owner. So basically, I'm just going to quickly show you what I did. Here's the motherboard now. That is important, the size of the motherboard, because this is the final revision. And it's really small, so it gives you tons of space within the case. And what I did was I made this is just a standard floppy cable, 50 pin, that I got off eBay, and I crimped on a Amstrad edge connector on both sides. Now, it is a bit overlong, but I'd rather have it. And what I did was, when I connected it up to here, I fed the cable under the motherboard and then screwed the motherboard down, just to keep it all nice and compact. From there, it goes over to the Ddi3. So now, it was stuck down, but I've had to take it off. But here's the Ddi3 with its pen drive in here, and I'll just double check that can be seen in camera. No, so I'll move. There we go. That's roughly it. So I don't know if that's any better. So yeah, here's the Ddi3. It goes into the Ddi3 there, but what also it's got is a reversing. I got off eBay. It's a reversing. I'll pull that off. There, if you can see, it just swaps the side of pin 1 from this side over to the other side. So it's the only way to get it to work. Unfortunately, I spent hours soldering it onto a plain mail, and I just couldn't get it right. Not thinking that, oh, the cable's the wrong way around, etc. So anyway, short story long, I just ordered one of these, crimped one of these on, and it works. So that goes into the slot of the Ddi3 in there. I'll just las this off because I want to update it. This is a bit big, these pen drives, and I don't need it that big. I think this is a 32, and I've just ordered myself some little mini 16 gigas, a lot smaller, so it will take up a lot less space, and I can get more than enough Amstrad games on there, as well as demos, and I can just update as new games come out. There's a new one just come out recently, the Phantom Mass 2, which is Vampire, but in mode 0, so that'll be good. And you will notice my Zaxxon drive is a little bit different, as there is no screen on it. So that's because I unsoldered the wires to the screen, soldered on some new connectors, and mounted the screen into the cassette deck port. I had to reword that then, I can't speak. Yeah, it's in the cassette deck port. So it was literally a case of 3 wires unsoldered. It comes on this type of wire, which is fine if you're having it mounted, but I wanted it as a separate entity. And it's under the cassette flap now. So that goes there. Also, you'll see I've soldered here. That's the forward and backwards. I haven't done the select switch, I don't know why. I must do that one as well. But again, I've just soldered to the back of them some pins, which go to 2 micro switch buttons, which I've, can you see just in here? They go to that. There's the main board. I literally just disconnected the cassette deck and kept this main board in, which sits there. Obviously, the Ddi3 sits there. The main board, the cassette board sits there. So I've still got my power. I've still got all my volume controls. I've got all of those things, just no cassette deck. Before anybody says anything, I will repeat, and I've repeated this on numerous occasions. The modifications I made on this are meant to be reversible. I have not cut the case in any way. There's no cutting out. I used hot glue to hold things down and little tabs just to hold things down that can be taken off again. Hot glue is very easy to take off with some like alcohol or IPA. It just lifts it off the plastic. So again, it's not a permanent thing, so it can be reversed. I'm saying this because on the Facebook group, I've had a lot of detractors saying, "Oh, how could you butcher it and this, that, and the other." I've not butchered it. If I'd butchered it, I would have been cutting plastics and all that, and it would have been irreversible. I've still got the tape deck. If I wanted to reverse it, that's hopefully going into another project, but I've also got it there as a spare. So if anything does happen that it needs, I get another CPC, it needs I've got another project in mind, but then it's literally just a case of reconnecting it up, or maybe a friend of mine will have a CPC tape that'll be absolutely had it. I've got one I can send to them and rescue another one. So I'm all for rescuing CPCs, I'm all for rescuing vintage hardware and getting it back to, but I'm not as big on the cassette loading and also disk drives. I've been having all sorts of problems, so there's my solution for that. My retro experience, if you wish, for the CPC was, the tape loading and all that was part of it. I get my fix of that on Novabug's channel on a Saturday night, where he does his live game testing, which is hysterical. I advise everybody to check it out just for the laugh. But was the games, the actual software itself. That was where the majority of my nostalgia is, and programming. So yeah, the Ddi3 etc. does me fine, and it's, as I said, reversible. So there's no worries about that. The screens are, as I said, hot glued into the bottom, and it's not an exact fit. The cassette deck, I do have to think about rethinking it, just to move it so the cassette deck will close properly, because it's quite a large screen. But yeah, that sits nicely. Oh, if I can move there. And there, see, there's a little bit of a gap, but that's the screen inside. And as I said, it's just mounted with a bit of hot glue. I don't know if that can be seen in there. And again, it's reversible. So yeah, it's sorry, fingered in the way there. So no big deal to do it. There was a lot of experimentation, trying to figure it out, what did what, how to do it. But oh yeah, I forgot to show you that. Yeah, I'd mounted two micro switches there, if you can see on the cassette deck. There we go. That's me forwards and backwards, so I can still do that. The select and eject button I don't tend to use anyway, so so I've not, but I will put another hole in it. That's just a little piece of plastic off an old CD case that was broken. So again, hot glued in so it can be reversible, nothing permanent. So all the retro freaks that, you know, accuse me of blasphemy for altering the design, it's reversible. So yeah, so that's pretty much how I did it. It was pretty straightforward. It's just having the bottle to do it and get a soldering iron and unsolder cables and resolder them. Next job is going to be this beastie in my 6128. I've ordered this is again, I got the disk drive working, however, the cost of discs and them actually working, it's a no-brainer for me to swap it over to a GoTech. And the beauty of it is this cable can come off, because the GoTech uses 5 volts, not 12, as the Amstrad drive had. So yeah, I'm made up that that's coming, so I shall get that up and running. and hopefully have, well, I haven't decided. It was literally, I got it for next to nothing, well, what I consider next to nothing. So, as non-working, and it did work, so little connections here and there, but yeah. So anyway, that's my update on the old CPC. I'll put it back together now, I suppose, after I've flashed a new Cruiser USB drive. And yeah, that's it from me. Yellow Belly out.